Hey, welcome back, everyone. Man, we are looking at Proverbs chapter 31 this week. What a great chapter. The Proverbs 31 woman. That's right. She is an excellent wife, far beyond jewels, right? More precious than jewels. You have found excellent wives like this? No, that's the case. So we're looking at this. Last time we took a look at, we asked the question, what kind of wife do I want? And that's an excellent wife. One who is strong, who is virtuous, one who is capable. That's what that word it means. There's plenty of worthless women out there, right? Jezebel and people like that are in the Bible that give us lots of worthless women who aren't good for anything except for causing problems and destruction, like all those wives that led Solomon astray. But the second question is, what is she like? What is this excellent wife like? And she's a helper fit for her husband. Remember back in Adam and Eve, but Eve was a helper suitable for Adam. It fit Adam perfectly. So an excellent wife is a fit for her husband. So he has complete confidence in her. In verse 11, we see that she behaves in such a way that her husband has no reason to be suspicious about anything or of anything that she does, because what she does is always truthful. We should have this confidence with a fellow God-fearer, like Paul told toward the Corinthians in 2 Corinthians 7:16. I rejoice because I have complete confidence in you. So confidence brings joy. That's what we see. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. He trusts because there's nothing wrong with what she's doing. He can trust her with everything he entrusts her with. And so he will rejoice because she has complete confidence in his wife. The question is, do you have complete confidence in your spouse, in your wife? Do you have that? If not, why? Right? And if not, if you haven't had it yet, why haven't you changed? If she's not trustworthy, then she's not being an excellent wife. And then there's a problem there. There's some marriage counseling that needs to be coming. This is really just a plug for marriage counseling, which we can help you out with that. Take a look at my website. Right? But that's the case here. He is saying, he has complete confidence there. The second thing is he doesn't need anything, too. That's the second part of that verse. And he will have no lack of gain. Right? He will gain. He will have not just staying steady, but he will gain because his wife is excellent. An excellent wife is not a drain on the husband, but brings a fullness to his life. She makes him a better man in purity, integrity, spirituality, maybe even financially. If she's like this woman here is buying and selling stuff on the side and watching out for her household and being frugal, but also helping the poor and needy. So man, he's going to gain. He is profiting because he's married to this woman. It's not a drain. It's not something that's hard for him to do. It's not, a pain in his butt. It is a marriage, a relationship that just elevates this man higher and higher. He has no lack of gain. What an awesome position that is, right? What an awesome thing to be a man that lacks nothing because your wife is so awesome. That is amazing. So he doesn't need anything. Then you get to verse 12. She always does good to him. I read you a quote from George Lawson. He said, "Some wives are like the days of April. At one time, they are serene and pleasant. But other times, they are all tempest and fury. And another time, they're like a continual dripping." An excellent wife is constant in her behavior toward her husband, whether in his presence, with her children, at church, or with strangers. Her aim is always to act in a way that does good, not harm, to her husband. That's what it says. She always does good to him. She's not talking bad about him behind his back. You know those women who get together in these groups and just badmouth their husbands all the time? Like, an excellent wife doesn't do that. A Christian woman doesn't do that. She's not going to her friends and saying, "Oh, my husband did this, this, and this, and my husband did this, this." That's not what an excellent wife does. That is a wife of gossip. So you don't go around and doing that. You don't do that. That's not what an excellent wife. You are not more precious than jewels if you do that. That's what the Bible's saying. If you want to be more precious than jewels and have your husband that trusts you, really trusts you, then don't be talking bad about him behind his back. He has no lack. You don't do any harm to him. Physical, mental, spiritual. You're not leading him astray, worshiping false gods, so you're keeping your theology in check, keep making sure you're in step with him. If that's what you're doing, hey, it's all good. It's all good. But he doesn't have to worry about anything because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and he can do what he's supposed to be doing. So it works good that way. So thank you, George Lawson, for that quote. Moving on. Next point is she's a diligent worker. Her days are filled, and they're not idle days. Notice all the verbs at work in this section. The wife seeks, works, brings, rises, provides, considers, dresses, makes, perceives, puts, opens, reaches, etc. This woman is busy. She employs her hands and her mind. So some women, are not able to employ their hands as much. Some women have disabilities. Some women have, disease. Some women aren't able to do things that other women are. But if they're just sitting around idle, that's a problem. They should be if they can't work hard with their hands, if they don't have the ability to do that. They shouldn't just give their time to gossip and entertainment, but they should be working, building themselves up so they can build their husband up, right? Some of it, learning theology. Yeah, study theology. Make sure you're strong so that you can be there as support and then be ready so that when your husband washes you with the word, you're like, yes, I know this. And you can have conversations with him. You can engage in topics with him, and you can build him up at the same time because you've done your work, right? So know what's going on. Or it's like, hey, I saw this is happening, or I was thinking about reading this book. What do you think? Would you like to, you should read it too. So next thing is, if she's up late or wakes early, it's to work, right? She does not fill her time with entertainment, but seeks to use her time to benefit her family. She's not lazy. The Bible warns us, and Proverbs has already learned what we already studied so far in Proverbs, has warned us against laziness. We'll get back to that topic probably before we're done with Proverbs, but a lazy person is not a person who is wise. That's a fool. So sleep and rest are good, but not to the detriment of your household, right? You can sleep, you can rest. Those are good things. But if you're doing that all the time and your household's falling apart around you and the kids are being horrible and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, then that's a problem. Next thing is that she chooses work that is right for her, and she does well. She perceives that her merchandise is profitable. So she's not running after a get quick rich schemes. I can't say that. Or choosing to do work that she neither has the skills nor temperament to do. She figures out her lane and works hard to do well. She also works with all strength that she has. Verse 17, dressing with strength and making her arms strong does not contradict a gentle and quiet spirit, right? These two go together. She considers, she dresses herself with strength and makes her arms strong. Does that mean she's working out? I don't think that's exactly what she's talking about, but the idea of having an arm strength is the authority that you have. Using the authority. So she uses the authority that God has given to her, and she's dressing herself with that. So many women confuse being loud and insisting on their own way with strength. That's not how it works. They think that acting like a man or pretending to be a man will make them strong. Strength is not an exclusively masculine trait here. There is a feminine form of strength that's different from a masculine form of strength. The woman who figures this out makes an excellent wife. A woman who pretends that she's the man, she's leading the house, she's wearing the pants, is not being strong. She's being a fool, and she's heading down the path of destruction and destroying her marriage and her husband in the meantime. So if you're wearing the pants as the wife, then you're actually working against. You're not clothing yourself with strength. You just clothe yourself with foolishness. That's what you've done. You just made yourself a fool in the eyes of God. And fools do not inherit the kingdom of God. And you don't want to do that. So if you're a Christian woman, you don't want to do what fools do. So don't be a masculine strength. Don't say, I'm in charge. I'm wearing the pants in this family. If you are, then you got bigger problems than you think. It's actually worse than you think it is. So find that feminine form of strength. There's a feminine form of strength. And that's what it's talking about here. That's what we're talking about. This whole section is about that feminine strength. It's not about being man. It's not being about making your husband cower in front of you or making him escape to the man cave, right? This is about being strong, but being feminine and strong. There's a difference. You got to find that out. You got to figure that out. You got to figure out. Read this proverb. Read the other parts of the Bible about this. We don't have time to spend all the time on that today, but search it out. The next thing it says here is she seeks to bring gain to her family. So she purchases the food for her family. She ensures that her family is fed like the merchant ships that bring food from far away when there is a famine in the land. She expands the property by purchasing land. She makes useful purchases, does not waste money on unimportant things. She considers, does her research. She buys a good property and then seeks to improve it by planting a vineyard. She's planning for the future of her home's well-being. Even she's planning for an inheritance, what she can pass on to the family after she's gone. So she's not even just thinking about here and now. She's thinking, okay, when I die, I want to leave this to my kids. I want to build a legacy for these children. I want to, build things up so that they can have something when I'm gone. So she's building the house for them, really. Next thing is she furnishes her house, her home, and clothes her family. She has no fear for bad weather because she has already seen fit to clothe her children. She looks to and plans for their needs of the future. She uses the household means wisely. She makes tapestries to beautify the home. She's beautifying the home with tapestries. So she's not just making a utilitarian kind of paradise here where everything just works. Everything's pragmatic. She's also making a beautiful home. She clothes herself in silk and purple. She's dressing nicely too. She's not wearing rags. She's not wearing a burlap sack, potato bag. She's not walking around in that. She's dressing nicely. She's not. It's not audacious. It's not beyond. But purple is expensive. She's using silks and purple to make herself beautiful for her husband. That's good. That's what a wife should do. That's what excellent wife is not called to asceticism, where her house is empty of things and she wears a burlap sack and her children freeze to death, right? There is a place for physical adornment, but not to the neglect of inward beauty. There is a place to adorn yourself nicely, but inward beauty is where, in the past, like Peter says, that women of the past used to adorn themselves inwardly. That's where they spent most of their time. Outward was secondary. It happened. They put clothes on. They put decent clothes on. I mean, I don't think Sarah, Abraham's wife, was walking around, half naked because she was like, oh, I'm working on my inward. She dressed nicely, right? He was a rich man. He was an extremely wealthy man. So she didn't have to, walk around in rags. She wasn't drawing attention to herself because she was just, shopping in the dirty rag section for clothes. And then the last thing she sells what her house doesn't need. So she made things for her home. Her kids have their winter coats. She has nice clothes. However, she continues to produce more so that she might sell the extra. So she's kind of entrepreneurial there too. She's selling stuff that her family doesn't need. She's selling the excess, the produce. And then the next main point is that she runs the household. She makes sure that those that work for her are paid. In verse 15, we see that where it says her maidens, right, refers to the excellent wife's staff. She has a staff. She has employed young women to work for her, and the portions given, what it talks about there, are their pay. Not only does the wife make clothing and tapestries, but she has women to help her do that. But she's a good employer, and she makes sure that in the end of the day, they're paid. The portion could also refer to the woman's allotted work for the day. So she also has this idea. You could also refer to the fact that she's allotting them a work part of the work for the day. So she makes sure that they have something to do. She's not just paying them to sit around and do nothing. She's actually a good boss. She perceives that her merchandise, so she plays well. And then the last thing is that she inspects her work, the employees' work, right? She also makes sure that the work being done by her or her staff is done well. That's why it says she perceives that her merchandise is profitable. It's good stuff. It's not garbage that they're making. It's things that are profitable, things that are good for people to have. Finally, last point, she cares for the poor. This is where the excellent wife also remembers those in need. She's making money, but she's also giving that money away. She is seeking profit so that she might share with others. Ephesians 4:28, let the thief no longer steal, but rather let him labor, doing honest work with his own hands, so that he may have something to share with anyone in need. So that's why we work. That's why we make money. That's why we make more money than we need, is that we can share it with other people. That's the idea. That's why Paul is telling the thief, hey, stop stealing. Get a job and then make more money than you need, because you need to get that money to help the poor, someone in need. someone who is in trouble. You need to help them out. That's why you need to work hard. That's why you need to labor. Do honest work with your own hands. Get to work, buddy, because you need to be helping out in the church. That's what you should be doing. And so the excellent wife, that's what she does. All right, so that's our study for today. We covered that whole section. Tomorrow we're going to look at the conclusion. I just have 2 applications for you this week. So come back next time for that.